In this video, I'm going to cover estimation. And when we estimate, we find an approximate or close value to the exact answer. Estimation is a very important skill that helps us determine a reasonable value to a problem. Estimation is critical in both math class and the real world, whether you are determining if an answer is in a reasonable range, estimating the total cost of items as you're shopping in a store, estimating the cost of a discounted item, or even estimating the time of arrival if you're on a trip. Estimation is used all the time in a wide variety of situations. In this specific video, I'm going to be covering estimating whole number sums and differences, addition and subtraction. So let's jump right into number 1, where we have 745 plus 386. And the first strategy that we're going to use is called front-end estimation. So that just means we're going to round to the greatest valued place, so the place furthest to the left. In the case of number 1, it's going to be the hundreds place here and the hundreds place here. So 745, is it closer to 700 or 800? Well, it rounds to 700. And then 386 rounds to 400. So we would add these for our estimate and get 1,100. So we could say that 745 is approximately 1,100. So this little squiggly equal sign there means approximately. Now the actual exact answer to number 1 is 1,131. So you could see that our estimate was pretty close to that exact answer. On to number 2, where we have 9,341 plus 5,871. So let's use front-end estimation again here. So thousands place. So 9,341 rounds to 9,000. And 5,871 rounds to 6,000. And we get an estimate of 15,000 there. Now the actual, so let me put our estimate here and then I'll do the actual answer. So the actual exact answer is 15,212. So again, pretty close to that exact answer. On to number 3 here, where we have 431 minus 261. Now I'm going to go through a couple of strategies for this one. I'll do front end estimation and then another strategy. So front end, we'll go to the hundreds place. So 431 is going to round to 400. And we are going to subtract, well, 261 rounds to 300. So our estimate is going to be 100 for front-end estimation. I will show you another strategy here that's going to get us a closer estimate. Now, I do want to say, when it comes to estimating, there are no set rules that you have to follow. There are a bunch of different strategies, so whatever works best for you. The closer you round your numbers to the original problem, the better your estimate is going to be. So let's try a different strategy here where we're going to take a look at rounding these to closer numbers. So for example, 431, we rounded to the hundreds place and we rounded to 400. Well, another strategy we could use, we could take a look at the halfway or midpoint there. So instead of asking ourselves, is 431 closer to 400 or 500, we could take a look at 450 because 431 is closer to 450 than it is to either one of those hundreds place, 400 or 500. So let's round to 450 and we'll do the same thing for 261. That's actually closer to 250 than it is 200 or 300 if we were to round to the hundreds place. So let's use 250 for that one, subtract, and we get an estimate of 200. So notice how our two estimates differ. Now, neither one is incorrect, but one is going to be closer than the other. So the actual exact answer, I'll put an actual equal sign there, is going to be 170. So 200 is closer to 170 than 100 is. So our second estimate there was a better, closer estimate. And that is because 450 is closer to 431. These are closer than 400 would be. And 261 is closer to 250 than it is to 300. So we rounded closer to the original problem for our second estimate. And again, rounding closer to the original problem gives a closer estimate. So let's try number 4, and we'll use two strategies here. We'll use the front end estimation and then the half or midpoint. So let's take a look at the thousands place here. 6,482 is going to round to 6,000. And 3,102 rounds to 3,000. All right, and we get an estimate of 3,000, which is a good estimate. That is fine, but let's see if we could get a better estimate. 6,482, that's going to be really close to 6,500. So let's use that midway point to get a closer rounded number. Now subtracting 3,102 rounds closer, that is closer to 3,000 than it is 3,500. So let's just use 3,000 for that. Subtract, and we get 3,500. So you can see that our two estimates here are pretty close, but let's see which one's closer. The exact answer is going to be, put our equal sign here, 3,380. So our second estimate of 3,500 is a better and closer estimate. Now, is 3,000 necessarily wrong for an estimate? No, 3,500 is just closer. And that's because we rounded those numbers closer to the original problem.